Hi James, how are you?
Hi Leo, I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks James. I'm looking forward to a visit to the hairdressers myself.
Me too, Leo, me too.
James, markets. There's been a lot going on over the last year. We're past that year mark now since the first lockdown and the crash. How's the last month been?
Well, with the rollout of the vaccinations and the gradual easing of lockdowns, there's a lot of optimism in markets. And March was another positive month for most equity markets. The FTSE 100 index, which measures the largest companies in the UK, has risen 4.2%, while smaller companies, measured by the FTSE Small Cap Index, rose 6.8% in the month. Over in the US, the S&P 500 index is up 4.4%, and European stocks are doing really well, even though the vaccine rollout is a bit slower in Europe, as the Euro Stoxx 50 index rose 7.9% in March.
Thanks James. James, you've included this chart in your commentary. Can you take us through that? You've got a down arrow and an up arrow. How was that? How was the experience with the investment team?
Yeah, so that big crash, of course, happened back in March last year, and the global equity market lost nearly a third of its entire value. It fell 32%. Of course, as you can see in the chart, the recovery since then has been very strong, particularly from November when the vaccine announcements started coming through. I should point out that the MSCI World Index is dominated by the US, which makes up about 66% of the global developed equity market. And of course, the US was particularly strong during the early months of the recovery when its big tech stocks were doing particularly well. And the S&P 500 has more than comfortably surpassed the level it was at before the pandemic, and it's now at new highs. Whereas the FTSE 100 index is still yet to return to the level it was pre-pandemic. But of course, the UK market is a lot less tech heavy. So the companies in the FTSE 100 are having to work a bit harder to get back to where they were pre-pandemic. Of course, the vaccine announcements in November has helped them out quite a lot, particularly value companies. And as we mentioned quite a lot, we do have a value tilt in our multi-asset funds and a strong value tilt in our equity funds. So they did particularly well in November and since then.
Excellent. Well, hopefully brighter times ahead as we continue on the roadmap for the lockdown easing, and hopefully we're out of it. Do you foresee anything or expect anything over the coming month?
Well, even though many markets have recovered quite well, volatility is still higher than it was pre-pandemic. So we can probably expect a couple more wobbles as we continue to exit the lockdown. But overall, I think there's plenty of reason to be optimistic.
Something to raise a pint for then?
Yes, which we can do next week, I believe.
I'll see you there, James.
Yeah, definitely, Leo.
Okay, all the best. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Bye.